Hinduism and Buddhism. Buddhism come with Chinese when we migrated here, and Hinduism come with the Indian when they migrated here to trade, and then Christianity come with the Portuguese, come with the invaders. But as I look through, and because I'm a bit lazy to look around the soft and Wikipedia, hopefully the Wikipedia is right, but this is something you can do a reference to. Islam came to Malaysia on the 12th century, of which the first king that embraced Islam is from Kedah. Alright? And it is spread. Yeah? It is this Muslim, this Islam, this first king that embraced Islam is actually get to know Islam by an Indian trader. A Muslim Indian came to Kedah, do trading, and tell this king about Islam, and he embraced Islam by an Indian Muslim. Right? So how does this is Islam, and then how it actually become a culture of all the Malays on the in Malacca, when Malacca has a civilization where the third, these are all in your textbook. I'm not sure if you still remember your sejarah textbook for some of you. And this is when the third king embraced Islam and make Islam a culture and the law, and acted Sharia law in this, I don't know, Lao, Undang Lao, something like that. But it is in Malacca in the 13th century that Islam actually grew in Malaysia, or that time we call it's still Malacca only. And how about Hinduism? Hinduism come much earlier. It came with the Sri Vijaya Empire. If the scholars will know, Sri Vijaya Empire started in a very, very long time ago. We have civilizations from the 2nd century onwards, that we have all these small little Indian Hindu empire that is in Malaysia. So Hinduism actually came to Tanah Melayu, came to this place much earlier. What about Buddhism? Buddhism came also earlier than Islam. That is, a lot of people think the Chinese bring the Buddhist here, Buddhism here. No. The Indian brought Buddhism here. And Christianity, a lot of people think it's because the invaders, Portuguese came, and then all the preachers also came. It's on the 1511 that we were invaded. But it is not. It is also in the 7th century that we can find traces of Christianity on our land. So, after I give all of this history to you, I'm not telling you that, that's why you don't need Islam is not a federal, as an official religion of Malaysia. There is not. And it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter who came, and it doesn't really matter how it came. What I want you to know is that eventually, what we are looking at right now as Muslim and Islam is purely for the Malay, or Malay is purely for Islam, and the Chinese is Buddhist, and some of them that went into Christian like me, and the Indian Muslim Hindu, they are all actually is our perception of years of education in us. So I just want you to know that we in Malaysia, in the 2nd century onwards until this Malacca civilization and all this, we are always a pluralistic society. We are always a society of which we tolerate each other, of which we have big tolerance towards differences among each other. So this is us in the history and how it came. So I need to refer to this, and I should just give you a little bit of identity, how I think Malaysian identity should be. Alright? I have a little bit different opinion than Mahan, of which she says that no, religion should not form the identity of Malaysia. I think, to me, we have all rights to differ. Yeah? So to me, religion will inevitably form a part of Malaysia. Inevitably, right? Form a part of important elements of Malaysia. But how do we define it? How do we embrace each So I would go nowhere than to our forefather, to the person that made Malaysia what it is right now, and to fight for independence. So he is the father of our nation, to God the Rahman. This is what he says on the 80th birthday. 80th birthday, sorry. He says in 1983, in the start, while the start is still very, very neutral. He says in the start, country has a multiracial population. Our country, Malaysia, has multiracial population with various beliefs. Malaysia must continue as a secular state with Islam as the official religion. And I believe so. And DAP fight, I include a little politics. DAP fight for Malaysia, a secular Malaysia, of which there are only different things. The only thing we fight for is this, is human rights, equality, social and economic justice. This is a common value. Everybody of different faiths will agree, and it is a universal value that can actually bring us together. But what has religion become now? Religion in politics. Religion in Malaysia. One of the first enemy of religion in Malaysia is politicians. So I'm the enemy lah. Because, like what Anna said, Islamization, or I would say, it's not a real Islamization, it's the UMNO style Islamization started in the 1980s, where we started our new economic policy, we started with a new education policy where we segregate our society into divisions and segregations. This is when politicians come into place in the religion. And just like what Mahan said, it is so true. Politicians become moral police. They went to Kelantan and tell the Kelantanese what to do with their tradition. They told them that this is wrong because according to Quran, blah blah blah. Who are you? A politician that fight for votes and votes alone, and for people in Malaysia National probably is money. Alright? So politicians is not the right person to tell you what to do in religion. And politicians should be kept out of religion. However, as I mentioned just now, politicians should not refrain from talking about religion, because this is what a free country will be like. You talk about your religion, you do whatever you like. Another second enemy, which is very related to politicians, is moral policy. I think this has become very, very prevalent in these 20 years, of which people say, hey, ABC, you cannot do this because according to the Quran, blah, 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 blah. And then while the politician is fighting for protecting, in the name of protecting their religion, at the back door, they do all sorts of corruptions. Is that not hypocrisy? This is hypocrisy to the maximum. And our nation is at the stage, I'm telling you, we are not getting more pious in Islam. No, we are not. We are getting more hypocrite. And on moral policing, I just want to share with you a little bit that I too am trying to be moral police. Once, when I was first a Christian, I thought, this another Christian, why he do that? I always think, why he do that? And why this person do this? This is not according to the Bible. But of course, I'm not like Ibrahim Ali, I go to on the media and talk. But in my heart, I always think that. But there was a time when I realized this, and this is from the scripture. I think I can share with all of you, that actually all of us, I never went through my life and found out that I'm as weak as anybody, and I can do anything wrong as anybody else. I can do wrong and I sin. So this in the scripture says, for all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. And none of us here, none, even the politician, none of us with the biggest power to judge any other people, any other body, any other person for their what they are doing right now. Everybody is free to choose what they want to do, and of course, to suffer the consequences if it is negative things that they are doing. So, and then there is also a scripture that says, that I always want to tell the people that try to moral police, say, why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eyes, but pay no attention to the plank in your own eyes? It means that a very small sawdust that you see in other people's eyes, see as small, but your big thing in your own eyes, you haven't seen it. So this is something that many of us tend to do, and many of the politicians will use this to define who we are, to tell us who we are. So this is one of the enemies, and is our biggest enemy at this juncture of the history, is moral policing. Is to politicize religion in order to gain political interest mileage. So that is our enemy. So how do I look at all these things? I think, first of all, I think we need to change our, leaders need to change our mindset. Everyone has the rights to differ, and that rights to differ should be preserved by the Constitution of Malaysia. As what Mehan said, I do not agree with some of the things he said, but he has the right to differ with me, and he has the right to tell all of you what is the different opinion he has. And I too have my right, and I am actually practicing my right to say what I believe. And this is a real democracy and a real freedom that we are fighting for. Alright? And we need to be tolerant in all sorts of things. The only thing that I think as a Malaysian we cannot be tolerant is intolerance. The only thing as a Malaysian we should be intolerant of is intolerance. We should not allow anybody in the country or in the society to be intolerant to anybody's faith or to anybody's belief. And a lot of people, I'm telling a lot of young people, a lot of people saying that in terms of religion and race, racial harmony and everything, Malaysia is at the darkest history, is at the darkest history or darkest page in Malaysian history. If you look at what we are right now, if some of you here, I think some of you here are old enough to remember when we first started as a country, we were like, you go to my house, I go to your house. We are not particularly Chinese, Indian and Malay. But 50 years down the road, our country has changed. Our country has been so segregated that we think that, this Muslim, I don't want to friend with him. And a lot of my Chinese friends, I tell you, because I'm from a Chinese school as well, they don't even have good friends of Malay, good Indian friends. If you compare with our parents' generation, they always have their good Malay friends, good Indian friends. Of our generation, I tell you, because I'm from Chinese school, until age of 17, I don't have any good Malay friends. It's the way I brought up, it's the system itself. Of course, I get enlightened and all this now, as you grow, you read, you know more about Malaysia and you change as a person. But the system itself is so ingrained that many of us are brought up that way in our generation, are brought up segregated and divided. This is a nation that is divided. This is a nation where everybody thinks that this is Malaysia. Just what Mahan said. We think Malaysia is like KL. We think most of the people think like you think. Actually, we are living in all small bubbles because there is no interaction between us at all. So how do we go about it? This is the darkest history. Should we just leave, especially for the minorities, since Malay is going to get more and more, I think the Chinese might as well leave, or the Indian might as well leave also. Are we going to decide on we might as well leave? Or are we continue on in this country and fight for the future generation? I have chosen to continue in this country and fight for a pluralistic, tolerant Malaysia in the future. Because when there is the worst page of the history, that is when there is a turning page of the history. If you look at, I just want to tell you the story about this Rosa Parks. I'm not sure if you guys know about her. Many of you know about Martin Luther King, right? Civil rights movement in the States. But Rosa Parks is the first person, or one of the pioneers, a lady who went on the bus. That time there was this segregation law, of which the black should give seat to the white if there is no seat in the bus. So she refused to give seat to the white, and refused, although there is retaliation, there is persecution, and she will refuse. And her behavior, or what her decision to refuse giving seats to the whites, become the catalyst to Martin Luther's movement, civil rights movement in the States. And many of us will think that we are actually too small. And I, even as a lawmaker, sometimes I just can't help to think that we are just too small to change the system. But all of this history reminded me that we do not need many people to change the history. We just need people with great determination and courage to change the history. And that is the bubble that we want to break. That is the bubble that we want to make sure that, it will no longer be there 50 years down the road. When we celebrate our 100th birthday in 50 years' time, I hope this bubble no longer exists. But how do we go about it? How do we go about doing that? I have some steps, practical steps that we can do. First thing, as a society, we should fight for a common value. A lot of time, because we don't fight for our common values, we fight for our own rights. Because we don't see a greater picture, we see only ourselves. That is when we give a lot of concentration and energy on ourselves. So first, fight for common value, free from all kind of discrimination. I just share with you an experience I had as a lawmaker. So I think 2 months ago, there was somebody emailed me, and this is a Malay lady. She wrote to me and said, Wahio, can you speak out for this lady by the name of Mira Kamil? She said that she got discriminated in KLCC when she was looking for a job because she was wearing a tudung. Did you all see any of you see the Facebook? Yeah, you saw? So she said she was discriminated because she was wearing a tudung. Can you speak out for her? I was like, I wanted to because it's her right? But I was afraid because also in me, I feel, although I am a politician, I still care what my community will think about me. Then the first thing that crossed my mind is this, is that if I speak out for this person, how would the Christian community view me? They will view, hey, you're Christian, why do you speak for the Muslim? But eventually I decided to speak for her. Eventually I decided to speak for her. Because why? Because although I'm a Christian, although I am a Chinese, but I'm a Wakil Rakyat for all Malaysians. And every Malaysian deserves the right to not to be discriminated by the color of your skin, and also by the way you wear. Whether it is with headscarf, without headscarf, with tudung or without tudung, your only thing or the thing that people need to judge you from is the character. It's your character and your competency in your work. So I decided to speak out for her. And whoever they come to me and say that why you do that, I'm just going to explain to him I'm the Wakil Rakyat for all Malaysians. As the same goes to, a lot of temples will come to, as a Wakil Rakyat, we are a Wakil Rakyat for all the people. The most will come to us the temples will come to us, the Hindu temples will come to us, and the church will come to us. All because I am a state government, in Selangor, Pakatan Raya is a state government, so we have some fund. I have decided to give my fund not based on what I think is affiliated to me. Maybe the Christians are going to criticize me of giving so little allocation to them because they do not need it. We will only give based on need. And this is the future of politics that we are fighting for. Is allocation of resources based on needs. If it meant to be that temple is the most deprived, I will give the most resources to the temple. If the most is the most deprived, I will give to them. And this, I hope, is the future for all Malaysians. Is that we give our resources based on needs and not the color of our skin or our belief as or our faith. So that is a common thing we're fighting for, and that is why this is what politicians should fight for, is common values. But what about common values will not bring us together, you see. Common values can be preached, can be said on ceramah, can be anything, but it will not bring us together. But a greater problem will bring us together. So I would like to direct attention to the poor and the poverty, whether it's in Sabah or Sarawak. Sabah has recorded 1 in 5 Sabahan living in under the poverty line. So these are some of the things that challenge a bigger goal that we need to fight for as a nation. Then what is your seed? Where do you worship? Is the poverty. Is people in need. Is fellow Malaysians in need. That's first, poverty. And the second, I think we need to focus as a nation on education. All of you, I think if you read the newspaper, you know we just flunked. Our children flunked in PISA. PISA is the performance program, international program for science and maths or something like that. Yeah, science and arithmetic. All right. Our education has dropped down to such a level where I really cannot foresee what is the future for my children. What is the future for my children if I insist on to give my children a national school education? What is the future of those people who cannot afford private school? What is the future of all those people who are living in poverty in rural area that rely solely on national school quality to bring them out from what their parents are in the social hierarchy? And what about the opportunities from the talented and young? According to one of the reports by the Age, one of the reports from the international agencies, this international agency do headhunting or outsource for Malaysian company. Malaysia is the third country that has the highest demand for outsource. The first one is China, and second one I do not know where. Their size is much bigger than us. But Malaysia, from the absolute number, that we are asking for outsourcing the market. That means to say, we have the demand for labor, but we do not have the skills for the labor because all our highly skilled talents have moved away from Malaysia. How do we as a nation need to solve this? We do not have to talk about religion or anything if there is nobody in Malaysia prosper, if there is no bread and butter, if there is no prosperity. There is no point that we talk about religion, where everybody is not full education, people are not enlightened, people are not open. So these are some of the things that we need to fight for on the right issues. And how can we do as a whole? I think first thing we need to change is education system. We need to remove the politician out from the politics of education. Of course, this can be done with the federal government or with Pakatan Raya come into place. We need to push for it. First thing is to make education, real education, with our teachers, open-minded teachers. With our teacher not imposing values to their kids and children, where you are seeing right now. So we need open-minded, good quality teachers And that is education. Second one, I agree with you, is media. Okay, he was talking about the demand side. So you control from the demand side. Don't look at those useless news. First, we control at the source side as a government. Printing and Publication Act need to go. Alright, this is some of the things that in the policy level we need to change on media. The third thing that I think we should do is the empowerment of Suhakam. Suhakam right now don't have any power. Suhakam is the Human Rights Commission of Malaysia. Human Rights Commission of Malaysia is supposed to look at, even the politicians to look at whether we violate human rights or not in Malaysia. But they have become a toothless tiger right now in Malaysia. In order for us to promote religion and promote human rights and freedom of religion, Suhakam have to have good independence and should not be affected by politicians, should not kowtow to the politicians. And of course, we also need human rights groups and also good lawyers and judges in Malaysia. These are some of the things, systemic change that we need to go forward as Malaysia, and how religion come into play and as a part of Malaysia. And with that, I would like to end my short speech with this, is that the future of Malaysia is bright. It's not bleak. The future of Malaysia is bright, but we need people of different, at this juncture of history, we need people to stand up and speak out. We cannot keep quiet. If we keep quiet, the extremists like Ibrahim Ali is going to talk and he is going to fill up the media. We should not keep quiet, we should continue to stand and fight for the right of the people to profess their own freedom. And hopefully in 50 years' time, we will see our children free from all kinds of discrimination, free to profess their own religion. And that is the future I'm seeing for Malaysia. It's a pluralistic society of which people are tolerant with each other and celebrate diversity of each other. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Ian, for sharing with us very interesting analogy about how to create open society in Malaysia. Yes? This is probably one of the approaches how to create a multiculturalism concept in Malaysia, as quoted by Mary Wolf in one of her books. And I'd like to, if possible, can I give you a quick response to that when it comes to, since you're a lawmaker. I'd like to quote what Professor Dr. Afi Sharum has said during the Malaysia Day, that the concern should be raised when it comes to some sort of confusion that exists among the Malay Muslims when it comes to the idea of Malaysia as the Islamic country, as opposed to under the constitution, as opposed to the reality of Malaysia, the reality of Islam as the official religion. So what's your take on that? The difference between reality and aspiration. Many Malay Muslims aspire to have Malaysia as a Muslim country, as an Islamic country, whereas it is Islam is an official religion under the federal constitution. What's your take on that?
Different parties will have different take for it, yeah? So I'm speaking for DAP point of view and speaking as a DAP lawmaker's point of view. As I've said, we have rights to differ. So anybody on the Boba TV or on the live stream, if you have a different view on what I'm going to answer, you have the rights to differ and we can debate on that. Alright, but my take for this would be, I think a lot of Muslims in Malaysia, they are aspire for Islamic country. It's not entirely on everybody need to be Muslim, but they are actually aspiring it to be a welfare state. A welfare state is what DAP is fighting for as well. A state of which there will be a better equality between the rich and the poor, and there will be equality among races. And a welfare state is that the weakest members of this society is well taken care of. That is welfare state. And this, I think, is the aspiration of many Muslims and many non-Muslims in Malaysia. And this is a common ground that we can find. As we as a nation move forward, we need to find a common ground to fight for. An Islamic state is a welfare state. A welfare state is everybody's aspiration. And for that. But from constitution point of view, alright, in this constitution, according to the constitution, that Islam is official religion of this country, but we are not Islamic country, according to the constitution right now. And I still think that this is the way forward.
Thank you very much, and that's a very interesting response actually, because one of the things that you say has something related to what Anna said earlier as well. I'd like to touch about your response given to Malaysia Insider earlier in November, when you talked about the progressives versus the conservatives in the past by-election in Sungai Limau, right? Okay, based on your statement written on Malaysia Insider dated 16 November, the belief that Malays must be made to remain Muslim goes against the principle of reason and justice, which is the cornerstone of Islamic epistemology. So there's a philosophy there. And I wish to hear more about, okay, just in brief because we are around on time, about the kind of a vagaries of perception that happens amongst Malays when it comes to legalization of what is Muslim, what's Islamic, and what's not Islamic, what is un-Islamic, and what could probably be opposed to the concept or values of Islam.
To be exact, first, regarding the writing, it not really come from me. I believe it comes from one of our associates within IFF, either our chairman or director of the Baru, perhaps, or another one of our research fellows, who's also attached to Project Yale on his IJ for Rahman. Okay, but yeah, back to your question, it's actually it's a very broad question when we want to talk about what is Islamic, what is un-Islamic, what is partially Islamic within the framework of Islam itself. Many people have the perception, even among Muslims, that religion is very binary. That it's either one, if not one, it's going to be zero. It's either positive. If it's not positive, it's going to be negative. Hence, people tend to see like, if this thing is Islamic, yeah, we'll go about it. If this thing is un-Islamic, okay, we are not going to subscribe to it. What we fail to understand with regards to religion, in particular the situation of Islam, as what the question is all about, is that the concept of identifying permissibility and non-permissibility in Islam is hotly debated for the past 1200 years. Only now, the dichotomy of trying to say what is Islamic and what is not Islamic has been simplified so much that people are finding what religion is teaching nowadays as something which they cannot relate to.
I think we can go all night about this, yeah. We would really appreciate it if you just wrap up your answer.
Okay, so with regards to that, what I will see is very important for Muslims nowadays, and if our non-Muslim colleagues and friends who would like to know more about Islam, is that the scriptures, the holy scriptures of Islam, are not rigid. Basically, we have two main sources. of the Holy Scriptures within Islam. Being not rigid, we should understand that any discourse is not being a dichotomy. You have a multitude of ranges on many things. You can what might be un-Islamic 1200 years ago. Understanding the modern day context, understanding the ancient day context, understanding present realities, understanding syntax and semantics of languages, we should be able to understand that there are a wide range of interpretation in understanding religious matters, that it is not simply reduced to being Islamic or being non-Islamic. Yes, that's enough to wrap it up.
Thank you very much, Anas. And okay, I just want to have your one very simple question for you, Bang. How can we all watch your fabulous Datuk Gong documentary? Before it was taken out from the net.
Before it's taken off the net, it's not on the net yet. So basically regarding the Datuk Gong research, it's a long-term research, and because it's something that we Malaysians have not really looked into yet, it's really exploring new grounds. And as I go deeper, I realize that there's so much more to explore. It is like it goes down the rabbit hole, one thing after the next. So as of now, I'm still researching, I'm still documenting, I'm still traveling across the country. Just last week, I was at another shrine, looking at how the younger generation are approaching the cult, looking at how younger people